Three, two, one, go.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Triad of the Forest podcast, a podcast from three Puerto Rican friends coming together to do deep dives into Star Wars and other nerd related media. This is season 2, episode 15. And since it was Mother's Day this past Sunday, we wanted to dedicate an episode to the mothers from a galaxy far, far away. There's our beautiful Leia on Goose's t shirt. Oh, how we miss you, Leia.
You rest in peace.
So I know. Anyway, to those of you that listened our analysis of the first 2 episodes of The Bad Batch, we kind of started talking about this a little more, about the fact that especially the original films and everything, it's so father-centered, and you don't really get that many mothers. And even when you get mothers, it's kind of like a little bit, they don't like do a full dive into that relationship between the mothers and the child and they're growing up. Like a lot of the mothers that we end up loving, like Hera and Leia and all these things, you don't actually see them interacting with their kids very much. So I think it's a little failure there on Star Wars part, but we still do get a lot of, cool moms. So
I mean, statistically speaking, 100% of every person has a mother. But it's interesting, though, that, like you said, now, like, despite the fact of this fact of reality, we just ignore that. And it's in a way, it kind of feels like mothers are punished in Star Wars for being mothers. Like they're not allowed to enjoy the gift that is motherhood, or be able to have that same relationship with their offspring or children, or however you want to phrase it, as fathers do. And maybe it's a symptom, right, of this being written by George Lucas, who, as many of you know, spoiler alert, is a man, and having that perspective of just, of a father. And it's a theme, right, that he has done, and that his best friend Steven Spielberg does way too much in his own movies, which is that father-son dynamic. So I think it's extremely interesting, like how we treat mothers, even like in this new era of Star Wars, where like our most prominent moms is, Hera, and we don't even get to see her with her son. We just see him like at the end of like in one shot of Rebels, but that's it. And in the books and all the content that she gets to appear after, becoming a full-fledged mother, right? Well, she was a full-fledged mother, right, of the Rebels squad and the Ghost, but a mother to her own flesh and blood son. We don't get to. She's punished for that. It's like you can't have flesh and blood. That's not allowed. So it's interesting, especially when we get to Shmi, which we'll talk about her in a minute. But those are like my overall thoughts on motherhood and Star Wars.
I think it's interesting. Well, I think what Goose is saying, not only it permeates a lot of our current like media that we consume. It's the fact that there's either the stereotype of what a mother is according to the narrative, or they're just absent. And it's almost like, or they're punished for being mothers. It's almost like there's this fear, probably, of just touching it, the whole theme, because it permeates every single relationship in a way. Whoever and mother, when I guess when I speak of mother, it's like any shape, size, type, gender. Like mothers can come from, you don't have to be a birth mother to be a mother.
Right,
That's
yeah.
Thanks for saying that, because when I was talking my thing, I'm like, oh, I should have probably said that. Thank you for adding that.
Well, it's just expanding on. I mean, the idea of motherhood does come from the idea that we're mammals, and there's that's the first relationship that comes to mind to probably most anybody, that mother, the one that but it misses. What happens is that we miss out on great stories that will actually that inform everybody. That's part of like the development. And it's interesting because there's always there is a big focus on the father and um, I guess father the son or father daughter relationship. Even the whole premise of that there wasn't a single like bat to the idea of like who was Luke and Leia's mom in the original trilogy. It was all based on, oh, this is our father.
Yeah.
Like the mom is relegated to, I guess Leia didn't say that she remembered, which then contradicts what we saw later on.
Very,
but
very sketchy.
Well, and it could have been that she remembered her adoptive mother, who, you know, would have been Bail Organa's wife. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a contradiction, but you do miss an opportunity there when you kill Padme, you know? So, and we'll get to that obviously, but there's also, it's a lack also of recognition of certain mothers as well, because you never hear about Aunt Beru. Aunt Beru was Luke's mom. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
She raised him, and she wasn't even related to him by blood. I mean, and this old hermit dude shows up randomly, like, well,
like, here's a baby.
Yeah,
here's
and
a baby, take care of it.
And it looks like, you know, they took it like troopers. Uncle Owen and Beru just like took him in and raised him pretty well. I mean, all he could complain about was that he couldn't go to the Tashi Station to get to get power converters. But otherwise, he seems to have been raised pretty well. And I feel like Aunt Beru gets like no credit. So I'm really hoping that we get more of her in the Obi-Wan show. Now that we know that she's recast, and then maybe we can see more of that. You know, she's the aunt, but it's still, she raised him. She's his mom. So I hope we get to see more of that relationship of Aunt Beru and Luke and their family unit on Tatooine. So here's hoping that they do that.
I'm glad you kind of mentioned that, because even in the original like Star Wars, like A New Hope, like it was Aunt Beru that was like worried about Luke, like the looking out for another person, that compassionate, because the uncle was like, oh, just one more year, you help me out, we need to farm moisture. And it was like Aunt Beru that was like, but you have to put yourself in Luke's shoes. Like Luke is like coming of age, like everybody's leaving, like it's this idea of being able to love somebody and be there for somebody else from another perspective, like be in their own shoes, while at the same time, like it's almost seems that that's like probably like an intricate part of what motherhood might be.
Yeah, and knowing when it's time to let go and let them grow up and become their own person, and the fact that she was always seemed kind of upset that Luke wasn't in on the truth of what happened, because Uncle O was like, oh, he's too much, like, no, we can't let him know. And Aunt Beru was the one that was like, but he has a lot of his father in him. What did you expect was going to happen? He's not going to be happy as a farmer for the rest of his life. Like, there was that understanding and empathy from her, and we needed more stories like that, and we needed more of a focus on it. And, you know, opportunities lost, but there's still more opportunity, because we're still getting more Star Wars content all the time, and we should be getting better at this by now.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, because to the point, and we see it definitely with Beru, like you guys very brilliantly said, but we see it with most of the moms, right, that are in Star Wars, obviously with the exception of Padme, because she didn't get a chance to be a mom, right? And we'll get to her. But you see, like, all of these moms have, like, obviously that compassionate nature, like understanding and caring for their child, which, don't get me wrong, I think it's a great way to write that relationship. That I feel, and I think that's something that you were alluding to, Mo, they limit them to be only that. And the minute that they become a mother, it's like you can't be anything else except that specific role. And I think that's what happened with Padme in a way, and with Hera. I mean, Padme, we see her like in Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, kicking ass and taking names, and the Clone Wars even more so. She's very active, and, you know, she's in the trenches and doing everything. But the minute she's pregnant, it's just like, oh, like,
stay at home.
We gotta stop. We gotta stay home. And the minute you have the baby, it's like that. Now
you're done.
You're done. Your value in the story is over.
Your purpose is over.
The message is kind of terrible, at least at least for me, which is in a way mirrors what happened with Shmi, right? Shmi, I think, was also one of the top tier moms, right? She did her best doing a single mom. She doesn't know who the daddy is. It's like, I don't know. I was pregnant one day. It's like that's some MTV show right there. But you know, slave, few
Slave.
means, and she was still able to raise like a good and compassionate son who things happen, but that was what
that's
happened
not
to
her
him
fault.
was not her fault. She was not doing the
No.
raising at that time. But
And she didn't know it was going to end up that way. I mean,
and exactly, but she pays the price, right, for him. Like his darkness, when he starts going into that path, it basically spells doom for her. So it's like she doesn't even have time or the opportunity to like actively help her son overcome his darkness. It's like, oh, you're only useful in the story to die so that your son can keep going on the dark side. It's like all these moms up until then
poor
are just like
moms.
a means to like start someone else, and all of these cases, men on their paths to something else. Shmi with Anakin, Padme with Luke. Well, Padme with Luke and Leia, not so much. It was more to take, I guess, Anakin even
Padme with Anakin
path,
again,
which makes it even worse because then she didn't even do it for her kids, right? Beru, like you were saying, Nani, for Luke. So all of these moms, it's just like cut short tragically so that their children or adopted children can do something else. Even in Rogue One, which is one of the modern Star Wars movies, like Jin's mom is there for what, all of 5 minutes, and it's just like okay,
then
just for deadify, and it's like, okay, well, we're just killing moms left and right. The only two moms that have been like big protagonists here on the, well, three, because I forgot about Aiden, but that we see like in big Star Wars media so far are Hera, which obviously is not dead. She's still around kicking ass, but she's punished for being a mom. It's like apparently she can't
be a general and a mom
and,
at the same time.
be a mom at the same time. Exactly, which is kind of the same thing with Leia. Leia
With
can't
Leia.
be a Jedi because she's a mom, and she can't have her son as long as she's a general. She's punished on all sides by the decisions that she's doing for herself or for other people. Someone has to suffer for the things that she wants, which I think it's kind of a sad way to kind of look at how Star Wars is framing these motherly experiences, which is supposed to be such a positive and uplifting
and nurturing and compassionate and but yeah, I think it all began with Shmi, and you feel so bad for Shmi because I think with what she knew, she did make the right decision by sending Anakin away, because I mean they were slaves. I mean, you get a Jedi coming and saying, I can actually take your child away from this. What other decision can you make? Obviously, the problem here was that I don't think Qui-Gon tried hard enough to try to get Shmi to come as well, because the Jedi are just terrible at snatching children away from their families. So,
and this is Qui-Gon, who's like one of the
I know who's
Jedi.
Supposed to be one of the nicer ones. I know, but clearly ripping Anakin away from his mother was a huge bad idea. It was just terrible. I mean, if Shmi would have been able to be freed and would have been like around as an influence, I think the story would have gone a completely different way. But she doesn't have foresight. She didn't know this was going to happen. She didn't know that she was going to be the catalyst to him becoming a monster. And it's so sad because I mean, she didn't really know, like you were saying, because he's supposed to be a child, without a father, immaculate conception by like midichlorians or whatever they were trying to do.
Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon.
Maybe Qui-Gon came had like 10 years before, and it's like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, and she was already, a slave, bringing a child into slavery, and clearly a supernatural child, because I mean he was like a little baby and he's making C-3PO from scratch and making pod racers and like all these things. So raising an exceptional child, and then her only choice is keep your kid in slavery or have him been stolen for the Jedi. Like, what kind of options are those?
Horrible options. But then that goes back to like that's a good question. What is the Jedi's relationship with their
Mhm.
mothers? And it's non-existent because it gets like severed right at the beginning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then again, probably because of the lack of like galactic psychologists, and
Mhm.
then we don't know what type of like PTSD and trauma that
Mhm.
severing of the ties implies.
Mhm.
Like what's the need? Why? How come isn't the Force, like, wouldn't the Force work perfectly well with love and compassion? Like it will. It's almost like that influence is seen as a like a detriment to the use of the Force.
Yeah. Because attachment leads to the dark side, apparently, according to Yoda. But
Yeah, I don't
attachment
know.
is what kind of led Luke to save Vader, though.
Yep.
That attachment was what brought him back to the light side and brought back balance.
Because he
Same
wouldn't
with
give up.
Rey, her attachment to her friends. So it's like that's why, not to be
And
a
same with
horse here,
Leia
but
and her attachment to Kylo. That's what brought him back too.
Yeah.
So.
That's why, not to beat a dead horse, but that's why the Last Jedi, when they said it's time for the Jedi to end, they should have followed through on that and be like, oh,
they should have, yes.
Need something new that embraces that mother spirit within all of us, right? Because it's like we were talking with Ty way back when we were talking about hero's journey and the heroine's journey, like that duality of male female lives within all of us. So like it's time, like for that, what's called like that feminine that involves the motherhood that lives within all of us in some way to be manifested more in a more with more of a mainstay in the franchise instead of like this whole fatherhood stoic relationship that we keep seeing.
And not only seeing, but it's almost recycled too.
It's kind of a shame, right? Because we don't want to have a Mother's Day special episode and just be kind of be bashing here
on a downer
on a down note of like how Lucasfilm fails these relationships, which isn't to say that the relationships are inherently negative, right? There's a lot of positivity, right? And like these mothers, most of them, right? Obviously, Padme's the exception. She didn't get to be a mother, but like you were saying, Nani, with especially with Aunt Peru, she proved to be like a really positive
influence,
in terms of like how she had her relationship with Luke. And I think every mother in Star Wars is kind of a positive influence on their child and has that compassionate streak that it's what we would strive for, right? And not just that type of relationship, but any interpersonal relationship that we have with anybody. We should all be a little bit of a mom to all of us. The world would be a better place.
Yeah. Unleash the motherhood within.
Unleash the motherhood. Ooh, that could be a good.
Agreed.
The title of a good movie or something.
Unleash the motherhood. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, anyway, since we've mentioned her a couple of times and we haven't gone completely to it, we have to get to Padme because Padme was just written dirty. That was so wrong.
Although Padme kind of was, which is like this what kind of rubbed me off a little bit with Anakin's relationship. She was very like there was like that motherly and like
because she was kind of a mother to
boy
him.
Relationship.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, because in episode 1 she was like kind of a mother figure to Anakin, and suddenly it's like, no, I want you to be my baby's mama. Like
like Lacey, when you face it's just weird.
But it is weird. Like, it is. I'm sorry, it is weird. Oedipus complex all over the place.
But like at least I think we had talked about it like in a previous episode, and at least on the Padme side of things, I've tried to see it as less creepy because she had quote unquote detox from Anakin for 10 years, so she didn't talk to him, she didn't see him, she didn't have anything to do, she didn't get to grow up, so she had like for her in a way it was kind of different people. So I think it's less
still creepy
on the less. I'm trying to reconcile this here. As opposed to Anakin. Well, I mean, Anakin's just Anakin
was a creeper.
Was a creeper
He
that
was
got
a
obsessed
creeper.
with,
No,
like,
Anakin
I'm
was a
sorry,
creeper.
everything is weird.
They helped me out with their relationship in the Clone Wars, because then you can actually see them interacting more. You can see that Padme, it is still this strong figure who kind of bosses him around all the time. But like you were saying, as soon as she becomes pregnant, it's like, I'm staying home and all I can do is like go to the Senate meetings and then worry that my husband is out there somewhere defending the galaxy and I'm just here. And then, I mean, oh God, what they do to her, it's like, commit to one thing or the other. Either have Anakin kill her. I mean, he was like chokeholding her, just have him like destroy her trachea, and there's nothing we can do to save her. We can only keep her alive long enough to, deliver the babies, and that's it. But don't do this whole, oh, she's in perfect health. She's just lost her will to live.
Bullshit.
Right.
Her twin children were just born. She actually got to see them. But no, my husband went to the dark side. Now I have to give up on life, and my babies are going to be raised without a mother. It's terribly written. It's so unlike what her character would have done. She would have, in my opinion, how I see Padme, how Padme was written before this happened, she would have rallied knowing that her kids were alive, and she would have done everything in her power to protect her children and still try to get Anakin back, probably. Because she was the type of person that never thought that a person could be completely turned. So if you're going to do it because you know it has to happen because Anakin has to go complete dark side, have Anakin kill him.
Yeah. Agree.
And that's what he thinks happens anyway, because that's what Palpatine says, that he killed Padme. That's what drives him completely to the dark side. So why not just like commit and just do it? Have him kill her. That's it. You're done.
Yeah, we already.
It's not like
younglings. So
exactly.
I know what the problem is. It's like literally five minutes ago he was just
like slaughtering youngling. It's like, oh, now suddenly it's too much that he's killing his wife. I don't know.
It's infuriating.
I thought that was super infuriating. And I mean, you can have Darth Maul get cut in half and he comes back to life.
Yep. Exactly.
He had the will to live. He was very angry.
But it's so stupid that to think, because now, her husband is a bad guy now. He left me. I can't survive on my own. I have no will to live.
Please.
How is that sending a positive message to women anywhere?
You were running a country when you were 14.
Yeah.
Well, like you lost. What are you talking about? George Lucas, I'm sorry. You messed up.
Yeah, that was a terrible. Yeah. I remember being in a theater where it happened, and I was with my mom, actually, because my mom has never completely understood my love for Star Wars, but she still...
But she'll still support you.
She doesn't get it. She doesn't get why I love it so much. But still, when I graduated from college, she's like, what do you want to do? It's like, I want to go watch Revenge of the Sith because it just came out in theaters. She went and sat with me in the theater and watched Revenge of the Sith, not knowing what was happening. Probably because I'm pretty sure the only ones she ever watched were the originals. And still, when that scene happened, I looked at her and she looked at me. It's like, what is
bullshit?
What's happening? Like, what is this? Is this how it's supposed to happen? I was like, I didn't think this was how it was supposed to happen. This is crap. This is horrible. Yep. Why did they do this to Padme? Sorry. I still have issues with this so hard.
Oh, you're not the only one. I remember. I distinctly, all my siblings were like, "What the fuck is that?"
Oh my god! And then it makes her seem like the worst mother in the galaxy when it wasn't her fault.
I thought they would have done since George Lucas, especially with the prequels, took a couple of let's call it inspirations from the Bible, especially with the Immaculate Conception. I thought that for Padme, he would have gone, a little more old school in terms of like his Bible references, and he might have gone a little Exodus, and done a little Moses thing, where like Padme would have gone into hiding, kind of like Moses' mom did in Egypt, and she was still kind of raising Moses, even though like the daughter, Pharaoh's wife or whoever it was actually raising Moses, but she's still there. And then she reveals it, and I was like, okay, I thought George Lucas was gonna do some fourth dimensional chess there, but then it's just like, nope.
That could have worked too. Yeah.
Like, but well, it will make sense. Like, it will explain how come Leia remembers her mother. You could have just said like, she died when she was young. But she actually survived.
But she survived and actually tried. Yeah.
So
told
much
her
bullshit.
like she knew that like maybe she thought that Padme wasn't her like her mom. Like at first when she was growing up, and then like when Padme's sick or something, she got space cancer. I don't know, but apparently she needs to die when she's young. And then in her deathbed, she's like, "Oh, Leia, actually, before I go, here's my secret. I'm actually your mom's. It's not Brea. I mean, she loves you too, but I'm the OG." And she's like, "Oh crap!" And now I know. Now I remember.
Yeah.
Now I know why she's always sad because she can't tell me.
Yeah.
Her secret.
Yeah. There were so many options, and honestly, out of all of the options, that was just the worst one. Was the one that was taken.
That was the worst one. Yep.
She's perfectly healthy. She's just lost her will to live. What is that? No, pobre Ella. Hate it.
Well, but that's I guess before we jump out of the prequel saga, we do have a badass mom, Mother Tusken.
Mother Tusken. That's true. That's true.
We do.
She's like the mirror image of Leia in a way, right? Like instead of being like Leia's like a light side mom, well, actually more of a Hera, I guess. Or Hera's like a light side mom to her clan. Mother Tusken's like dark side mom.
Then it's like, I guess that then they show us like the matriarchy, this whole like, but you can still see all of the elements that we've talked about on all the other moms. Like mother, like they were there for the moment Asajj came. Could have been it's the whole story of the prodigal son, but in Star Wars, Asajj comes
and in matriarchy,
and then Asajj accepted. Let's go through the trials. I'm here for you.
No judgment, just no acceptance.
Judgment. And then at the same time, like doing the same for the whole clan, because it's that whole idea. So let's get more of those stories out there. Like that's I guess that will be the challenge. That will be the call to action to, of course, Filoni listens. Yeah, since he listens to this show, obviously. Then
of course.
So just sprinkle some ideas.
That's a good point. The only problem I have with that story is that then I mean, we don't know that she's dead because in the Force, who knows? But then there's Grievous and Count Dooku come in and it's like, oh, you women can't be too powerful. Let's come in and
let's kill them all. Let's burn them all like witches. Yeah.
Well, Asajj is still around too. Asajj could be a mom.
It's there's debate on if she's around or not. If you read Dark Disciple, it kind of implies that she's dead, but we don't see the body type of thing. But it's Star Wars. Anyone?
That's the Force.
No one's really dead in Star Wars,
except Padme apparently.
Padme.
That hurt. Don't keep doing that. But let's try to bring this back into like positivity of moms in Star Wars. And I think the best representation of a mom that lives to see her children grow up to be big and strong is the MVP of all moms from the best episode of The Mandalorian. It's Frog Lady. Frog Lady from the episode The Passenger. Hey, she went through thick and thin. She had her little egg bowl, freezer, fridge, whatever thing, backpack. She traversed the galaxy with Mando through a crashed ship, through giant scary spiders, up to
Grogu eating her eggs.
To Grogu eating unfertilized eggs, but still not cool. And to make it back to Frog Husbando and get that polywog. She did it. She beat the odds.
She did it.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
Also taught Grogu a lesson. She didn't hold it against him that he ate some of her unfertilized eggs. She actually took care of him.
Showed him the child.
Showed him the ways of like, no. These are your brothers in the Force. Don't eat them. And Grogu learned that lesson. We see him playing with her little son or daughter, whatever it wants to be when it grows up. And it was a beautiful moment. So I think Frog Lady.
And I was terrified because I thought Grogu was going to eat it too.
Yep. Honestly, through this whole time, that episode I still think was edited out after the whole egg controversy. I'm sure there was a scene where
there was more egg stealing, or
eating
or
like
the
one
tadpole.
of the babies or something.
Oh no!
I mean, assuming that's right, they did the right call because it still makes a nice little arc for
It's
Grogu.
better to
Like, oh, I learned.
No, but
because
up to this day,
Grogu's a baby. He just saw a food source, but now he was taught that food sources can become living things as well. Well, he's a 50, but I mean, we know that Grogu is still a baby mentally.
So. Yeah, I know.
Do we or is Grogu faking it? I don't know. We don't know. Grogu
I don't know, and Grogu's clearly traumatized too, so that might have regressed him if he was more mature at some point. So
true.
Maybe he needs a couple more therapy daycares with Frog Lady.
Frog Lady.
So that he can, develop a little bit better, which is something that I'm upset with Luke about. It's like he was doing fine with his space dad, and then he like a space mom with Frog Lady. It's just like, let him develop like a normal child. Why are you kidnapping Luke? Don't.
Because Jedi likes kidnapping kids. That's that's just what they do.
That is what they do.
I know. But Frog Lady was awesome. I wish they would have actually given her a name. Like some of these characters that are, alien get names, and then Frog Lady's just Frog Lady, and Frog Cosbando, I guess, her husband.
Yep.
But there was a lot of that character was really well done. Like there's so much emotion that you can get from this character that looks so alien, and there was a lot of compassion and a lot of things that were important there, and that's the kind of stories that we need more.
Yep.
And I think one of the other things that I liked about Frog Lady, beyond her awesome maternal instincts, to get to the planet where she can have her offspring, is like her unapologeticness in how she's dealing with Mando specifically, because after the ship crashes, right? And it seems like they're stranded on this ice planet, and Mando's like, "Hey, the deal's off, lady, because we're crashed here, so I can't take you to your planet." She's like, we can tell that she's a badass engineer too, because she takes some droid that she sees in the corner that's supposed to be broken down. She's able to repurpose it, rewire it, bypass whatever things and then use the vocabulary. I'm like, holy crap, dude! You went to MIT or something here. It's like she's face MIT,
and at the same time, knowing that you're in a cold planet, find some hot springs to keep my eggs good at the same time. So she's able to do. She's able to do both things, be a badass and a mom at the same time.
And outrun Mando, because when she goes into full frog mode, she's like, hey, it's like, bye, Mando. Yep. It's like, you can deal with that. I'm out.
I'm out.
So I think
and even self-care, because she was in that spot. She was in that hot springs also, enjoying herself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And secure about her, I thought she was very body positive, because when Mando shows up, she's not like, oh, she's like, what's up? You like the goods? What's up? It's like, this is what's up. You can't have it. I'm married, but you can look. Yeah.
But you can look.
She wasn't. I love that. I was like, this is a woman that knows what's up with her body. She knows what she's got. She knows that the frog husband is a very lucky frog. He should be thanking his lucky stars every day.
Yeah. So we definitely need more characters like that.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Moms that get to be happy with their children. Yes. It's you can be badass and be a mom. It's like Hera doesn't just have to be a general. She can be a general, and she can have bring your son to the spaceship day, and she's in the Star Destroyer, and look, we are being attacked by the First Order. Why don't you man a gun and do something? And she helps him, grow up and take some responsibility. Motherhood on the fly.
Yep. Which is let's get those stories out there.
In Resistance,
even Leia she could have probably raised Ben, showed Ben the Force, but no, we go back to, I'm Luke, I'm gonna snatch your kid again. I already have a bunch of kids snatched anyway, so one more.
Right. What's one more exactly?
What's one more?
Resistance, though, even though I keep attacking, okay, not attacking,
Yeah.
but speaking not so positively about that show, which it's fine if you like. I'm not saying that because I like it, other people can't like it. But Resistance, there is one character, Benisa Dosa, who is oh my god, I forgot the other character's name. Whatever. She's the mom in the show, and she's actually that type of mom that we have been talking about, who's like a mom who's available for her child, but is also out fighting the war. And she's a pilot for the New Republic. So like she's kind of always in and out of the show, but you could always tell when she's in the show that she's like there for her daughter. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna have a relationship with my daughter and like foster it and whatnot. But like when it's time to go battle, it's like I'll go battle. But like I'm trying to keep my family together. So
yeah,
even though it's because the show was meant for like younger audience than Rebels or Clone Wars is, you don't develop that as much as you would in these other type of shows. But it's still there, and I think she's one of the stand-up characters for me in that show. So see, I did say something positive about
things.
Resistance.
We approve.
We approve. So do you guys want to get to Leia, our super mom, our Carrie Fisher goddess?
Carrie Fisher goddess.
Carrie Fisher, who is also a mom in her own right, a mom to Billy Lord, and it seems like she was a great mom because Billy Lord seems like she was one of those super fun moms that was just like taking her kid everywhere when she was at work and just giving her kids all the things that she had to because Debbie Reynolds was her mom, so that's like a a trifecta of awesomeness, I guess. But Leia, I'm conflicted because I feel like she's a great mom, an implicit great mom, right? Like in the films and books and whatnot. But I don't think she was a good mom execution wise in terms of
when they did the sequel trilogy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we really do lose something when we don't see how that decision comes about to let Luke take Kylo, Ben at this point, obviously, because we never see all of that. We never see how hard it is or what it takes to make that decision. You can tell that she didn't decide to be a part of the New Republic. Like she kind of stepped away from that. We still don't know if it was all about politics or about being a mom. Like there's a lot of gaps there about what her decisions were. You can tell that Han wasn't necessarily in favor of Luke taking Ben. And that probably Leia was, just because, it's her brother and Ben was probably already showing a lot of powerful signs, but we don't know what went into her deciding to really give, Ben away. And we don't see how long Ben was really with his parents before he was raised by Luke and everything else that happens. So I think we miss a lot of the story there. So we don't know what the decisions actually were. And that eventually what happens, it breaks that entire family because everybody feels guilty about what happened with Ben. Like Leia feels guilty because she gave him away. Han feels guilty because he didn't try hard enough to keep him. And Luke feels guilty because he didn't trust him and lost himself and was part of the reason that he ended up turning. So we don't know if it would have been different if he stayed with his parents, because apparently Snoke was influencing him somehow telepathically throughout the whole time. So we don't know if that's what would have happened regardless. I think what we can take away from it is the positives here, because Kylo killed his dad, but was never able to kill his mother. Even when he was at the height of his "I'm an asshole bitch," he couldn't kill her. And at the height of his asshole bitch face, was not able to kill her, and actually looks upset when he sees the missile going towards where she was. Like actually looks upset.
That other guy was like, "That's not my mom. I'm just shooting this
I'll
missile.
kill her." And he was just like upset about it. And then it is Leia's sacrifice that's able to bring Kylo back. It was kind of a patch up what they did there, I think, at the end, but obviously we had lost Carrie Fisher. We don't know if she could have gone to him personally and actually bring him back. That could have been a possibility, but obviously we're just never going to know. But at the end of the day, I mean, Leia was that person that he still loved regardless of how dark he went. And then it's sad that all we see in the films is her being more of a mother to Poe and yeah, and to Ray, and not to her own son, which is, it's upsetting that we really don't get to see that relationship, how it was like before he was taken away, all of these things. And you can tell by her interactions with Ray and Poe that she was probably a fantastic mother.
So I mean, I think that's one of the geniuses of The Last Jedi, which is like kind of showing that relationship, like you were saying, Nani, between Poe, Ray, and Leia, and like the two different ways that she can be motherly, right? The more tough, no nonsense.
With Poe, because he needs it. Because Poe needs boundaries. Because Poe is this crazy person that just does whatever he wants, and Leia gives him boundaries and compassion and focuses him.
And then the softer, more tender, more intuitive relationship that she has with Ray, because like you were saying with Poe, that this is what Ray needs. So it's like she's able to like tune into like what the children need, because like that's something I mean, obviously none of us here are parents, but I think that's something that a lot of parents discover, right, when they have kids. Like each kid's different, so there's not one parenting style that fits one
every child
kid. So they have to kind of find what works for that. And that I think was the genius, right, in Last Jedi, is that you can see how Leia is that person that's able to not only give people what they need to succeed, but also she's able to give the children, right, the type of love that they need to become the person they want to be. Which I think, in a way, if Carrie hadn't passed, there would have been, and if not would have, should have been like a scene in episode 9 where there had to be like some culmination, right, of like those relationships, and there had to have been like a scene between her and Ben. Because otherwise her arc as a mother just incomplete. And right, we got what we got in Rise of Skywalker, because
we just didn't have her.
So they couldn't do that scene, but it's kind of implied in that scene when she passes away
and she reaches out to him,
bring her son back. But but I feel like obviously we couldn't, but it should have, right, been them physically in the same space,
this having this conversation, and
right, because we never see,
and him just accepting that he loved his mom, because you can tell he wasn't able to kill it. Like, he loves his mom. So it's really sad that
and that's the thing. Sorry to cut you up.
Oh no, it's okay.
And
it's okay.
All of a sudden it pissed me off, because his mom just died for him to bring him back to the light. But then who does he have a conversation with? His
dad.
The dad.
Yep.
It's like, fuck mom.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing me back, mom. I'm gonna talk to dad now.
Who actually?
I wonder. I wonder if that maybe that scene would have been like perfect for the mother-son reunion.
Right there, yeah.
Or both, at the very least, both of them, right? You have the mother and the father, like in both scenes, and he's like, with Han Solo, it makes sense because he killed them, right? So there's some issues there he needs to address. But he also has his issues with his mom too. So maybe that scene would have been powerful if it's like the both of them. It's like, hey,
the family.
I know that we got separated, and like your mom went one way, I went the other way, and we couldn't connect with you, but like here we're together for you as a parental unit, right? As at the very least, because just the father aspect of it was kind of like loses the weight, at least in my mind.
Well, it goes back again to what Star Wars has prioritized, the fatherhood relationship at the disregard or the expense of the motherhood, which is unfortunate. But yes, that's not in a bad note, because that
uplifting. It's supposed to be good. I know.
well, it's both. It's everything. And isn't that like part of like the whole journey of like probably like parenthood and motherhood at the same time? Like there are ups and downs. There like it's how do how to deal with the ever-growing needs of someone that's developing and growing, and eventually someone that becomes like Ben, their own self-person that with their own. But how does that relationship transcend time? Because in a very real sense, it is I mean, to those that are fortunate to both like the the birth mother and the mother be the same one, it's a relationship that starts even before you're born. Like it's something that develops, and then, or vice versa, somebody, you might adopt somebody that comes into your life, and how do you add, how do you change all of your like preconceived ideas of the world to help that person to be there, and not only be there but to be emotionally supportive, be in a way like what you were saying, Goose, that provide the love that is needed for that specific moment in time. And that's that's never an easy task. Heck, as humans, we suck at like sometimes, like we strive to be compassionate, we strive to, but there's a lot of things that we end up being selfish, and end up being, so how do we go back to that, like motherhood, like unleash that motherhood within, to see each one as they're, a part of you, and that's the in the end of it, that's what it is all about. That kind of like that quote, that they are what they grow after, in a way that
we are what they grow beyond.
So that same thing applies to parenthood.
Yeah.
The definition of what type of mother, parent you become, it's what eventually they grow up become, for me.
So I like that. So like, in a way, can we say that the lesson that we're taking from all these Star Wars moms is that we ourselves should strive to be a little more mother-like, and have that connection within ourselves with our motherhood, and project it towards our fellow brethren, or what's the other version
siblings
our siblingness. I don't know. We'll have to make it fancier, but I'm lacking the words here.
No, it's about embracing, the nurturing side of all of us. I mean, and not all of us have to be mothers either. I mean, I don't actually want to be a mother. I've never felt like that's a role that's for me, but I love my mother, and any women that chooses to be a mother, God, you're badasses. Like, you are just, you're awesome. That is just something else. But we can still project motherness. Like, we can understand that the nurturing, the compassionate, the empathy. I think like you were saying, Mo, the world would be a better place if we've just embraced the more positive aspects of this. So
and maybe story-wise, that's how things start, because story-wise we've completely disregarded the motherness to the extent that it's just a punishment. So how are we supposed to even embrace that within ourselves? And you're right, you can be your own mother. Like, you end up being nurturing your own self. That's absolutely,
which is probably one of the hardest things out there also.
Oh yeah.
That's probably
self-love.
Self-love is really hard. Yeah
Probably the hardest love you can have.
Do you know who
but it's also
self-love? Frog Lady.
Frog Lady loved herself. Yes,
we should all learn from Frog Lady.
I think
so can we agree that Frog Lady is like our mom MVP of Star Wars?
Like, I really don't want to say. I mean, my instinct is to say yes, but like, I don't want to, throw Leia and Shmi under the bus.
No,
I think Shmi and Hera, right? I think all three of those.
I think we have five. I think we have Shmi, we have Aunt Beru. We have Leia, Hera, and Frog Lady. And I think that's our top five.
And Mother Talsum.
Moms.
Because we all need a little.
And Mother Talsum, we
little-
need a little extra spice for the dark
we all
side.
need
Seasoning,
Yeah.
We all need the dark
A
side.
little
in our
spice from the
life.
dark side. Yep.
Because nothing is completely good and nothing is completely bad either. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
we need that Talsum to
Balance.
balance it out.
We need the
it out.
balance.
Yes. Yeah. Well, anyway, I think unless some last comments here at the end, or
Well, I guess to all
all our
the
mothers
moms out there
and
our
all the mothers out there.
Para ti, mami, si te algún día escucha esto. Well, lots of love, lots of everything. May everything that your hearts desire and
Mhm.
be able to acquire that self-love come to
Yes.
fruition.
And
thank you. Thank you all.
My best quote that I can come up with from Star Wars that I can dedicate to all mothers is, to us, you're royalty.
Te amo, mommy. Love my mother-in-law too. You are the best. Both of you support us so much. And moms, man, we love our moms.
They're moms for a reason, right?
Yep, they're moms. Well, anyway, happy
love you
Mother's Day
all.
to all of the mothers out there. Always strive to be the best that you can be and never feel bad if you are not perfect, because there's no way to be it. Leia was almost a perfect person and she struggled with being a mother.
Mhm,
It's just
mhm.
not hard. You can't put yourself up to those standards. Just, you can try your best, but you never know what your kids are going to end up like. We grow up, we make our own decisions, we fuck up
No.
a lot, but thank you for still being around and being our moms.
Yes.
So,
And may
we
the
signing
force
off?
be with all of you, moms.
Oh, of course. May the force be with all of you. We are Triad of the Force. You can find us anywhere that podcasts can be found. You can find us on YouTube. Just search for Triad of the Force. We have shirts. We have
Not this one though.
no, that one's from
Unfortunately.
Celebration. And yeah, I know. And that one's amazing.
Well, we do have this one.
Yes, that one's very.
Let's have this one. Yeah. This
So
one's
hit
very
like
nice.
also. Subscribe.
Like, subscribe, hit that bell, give us some comments, let us know what content you want to discuss. Tell us if you like us, tell us if you hate us. We love criticism too. So stay tuned. May the 4th be with you and happy Mother's Day.